Go with it, man. Whoa, it's the Illusion reporting from somewhere on Spaceship Earth. I'm here with Coach Daryl.
Hello, man. How you doing?
Good, man. I'm stoked. We met yesterday, and I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. And
So just a little background on myself, Coach Daryl. I've been teaching for 14 years. I'm a graduate of a black college, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. I played football there, and I love sports. I love kids, and I've just been enjoying this journey so far.
okay, so You know what's funny is, as I told my wife who I was coming to interview today and what we were doing, and you coached my stepdaughter.
Who's that?
At Webster, Georgie.
Yes. Oh man, Georgia used to boss me around.
Yeah, she
bossed me
She's
around.
gnarly, right?
Oh man, Georgia got to be about 16 or 17.
You got it. You nailed it.
Yeah, man. I remember Georgie for sure.
Okay. Yeah, she's hard to forget.
Who can forget? Right?
Yeah. So, my wife's Blythe.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, small world, right?
Small world, man. Look at that connection.
Yeah.
Wow. Georgie.
So
Yes.
we met yesterday at a meeting for people that I'm calling this a civil rights issue about our freedom to choose and decide what we want to do with our bodies. And and I met Daryl and explained what has happened to you, Daryl.
So again, I've been teaching PE at Webster Elementary for Santa Monica Malibu School District for 14 years, and since this pandemic, and I've submitted a religious exemption form, which was denied, and also to rebuttal, I did a reasonable accommodation, which was denied as well, and they really forced me. I've been on paid leave, and they're forcing me to take this shot versus me feeding my family and continue to do what I love, and I just don't think it's right.
Okay. So hey Gunler, you're out there. How's our sound level? Just give us some feedback on that before we dig into this, because we can do a hard copy of this. Just give them a second.
There you go.
Since all systems are a go. Okay. So on this channel, we're all kind of on the same page about our right to have our personal autonomy, whether you're we got to use the code words here. We refer to it as the sauce.
The sauce.
Whether you're pro sauce or anti sauce is kind of irrelevant to where we are. I sort of view as low hanging fruit. We've moved to a higher level of what we're really against. This is
Absolutely
your ability to make a decision for yourself and not be coerced.
Right.
And
right.
So to get into that a little bit, and just so you know, I think we want to more talk about what it is to be a father and a man at this time, and what you go through to keep balanced right now, because this isn't easy on any level, I imagine.
Not at all. I mean, it's definitely some sleepless nights, man. I mean, it's almost like I say, 14 years I've been doing this, and this is all I know. You know what I mean? I really enjoy it. It's my passion. I'm happy to do it. But then all of a sudden, here comes this pandemic, and then now this is being taken away. You know what I mean? It's tough, and then I sit and I look at my kids and my wife, and we sit down and talk about it. But it's like, what's the next thing to do? I mean, all the schools are mandating this. So where do I go from here? It's just I have no idea, man. It's traumatizing.
Traumatizing. Yeah, that's a great word. I think we're all experiencing a lot of level of trauma. So let me ask you this, and coming into this, so when this all started, almost 18 months ago, 19 months ago, where were you at when this all began?
So I was, doing my normal day, and then all of a sudden, we got to Zoom. We've been Zooming and having these kids indoors and trying to be effective online. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I want to be hands-on. I want to be able to engage with the kids versus looking at a screen the whole time. And that itself, I mean, that was a whole year of us Zooming and trying to be effective online. And it took away from life, actually. You know what I mean? I'm sitting at home versus me being outside in fresh air and experiencing these kids. And it's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. It's well, that's the thing, as someone who does athletics,
Yeah.
right? You take your body pretty seriously, health conscious, I would imagine. You look
Absolutely.
super healthy and all this stuff. So we get this thing that comes along where, as healthy people, we play along with the whole other people's space, right?
Sure.
And we adjusted in this thing, and so now we move it on now where the healthy people are sort of being ostracized and being forced to make what I would say is an unhealthy decision.
Absolutely.
Without positive energy. Whether you do sauce or not is how you go about it. I think is hugely important to the energy of it, right?
Yeah.
And
I think you alluded to it earlier. I mean, it's definitely my choice. Like if you want to take the sauce, take the sauce.
Yeah.
But don't penalize me for not taking the sauce.
And so you're in this position. How long ago did you begin to see the writing on the wall that you were going to get faced with some sort of crazy decision like this?
I don't think I ever saw it, man.
Really?
I don't think I ever saw it. I mean, at one point they were saying, hey, the vaccine is the best thing for you, but now we don't want to force anybody to take it, but we highly recommend it. Then all of a sudden, out of the blue, it's like, boom, now you got to take it. Now you got to do this. Now you got to do this, or lose your job. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. What happened to us, not necessarily... What happened to my choice? What happened to me? Oh, I recommend it, but you can still do your thing. I mean, I can get tested, I can do all this other things, but now all of a sudden I can't get tested anymore. I got to take this shot and get tested and wear a mask. I mean, come on.
Well, so that's what I think's interesting. So you've reached the point where you were willing to check in with certain levels of this thing. All right, I'm willing to do the mask. Right. I'm willing to get the tested, and then all of a sudden there was a line you're not consciously going to cross.
Right. So I mean, working in the district, you got to have a paperwork, paper train,
sure.
And you're trying to do the right thing, and you want to do this, but now, hey, where's the reasonable accommodation? Hey, I don't mind getting tested personally. I don't mind wearing a mask, although I don't want to. But if that means keep my job, then I'll do it. But at the end of the day, I don't want to take the sauce, man.
I get you, and so as working in a school district, and again, as I don't think that like a lot of my viewers that are international and all over the country, as we live in Los Angeles County, and it's a very different world than, like, I live on the Ventura County line. Okay. It's a different world on the other side of the Ventura County line.
Sure.
So we live in an arbitrary line on the map that says that you have to behave in a certain way and to accommodate your lifestyle, if you will, which is working, showing up for your family, doing all these things. And how is that to be all of a sudden in this like district of America where you don't have the freedom to decide all of a sudden?
It's heartbreaking, man. It's heartbreaking. You're taking away my livelihood by mandating me to do something that I don't want to do. And then over in the next county, they're fine. You know what I mean? Like, who draws the line? Who makes these decisions to say, okay, this county is okay, this county isn't? And I mean, I don't know where to go.
I know it's Barbara Ferrer. I've got big issues with Barbara
okay,
Ferrer, but we're not going to get you on the blast with that. And the thing is, so when you're in the district, are you the lone wolf, or are there other?
So for a long time, man, I mean, as this stuff started to boil over, I thought I was. You know what I mean? I thought I was the only one. But then you start speaking to other people and hearing other people's voices, and it's a big community, man. It's a big community. So within the district, I mean, there's almost 200 people that I know of within these group chats that's now developing that are standing up for what they believe in. And so the support is there. Support is there. It's just getting the people out there and getting the people to voice their opinion and let it be heard.
So you made your decision as a man alone.
Sure.
Wow, that like I think a lot of people. I want people to resonate that you didn't make this decision because you checked in with a bunch of your other people in the district or a bunch of people or part of a movement. You're just a man and a father and a husband who's like, the buck stops here.
This is it.
Wow,
it stops right here, man. I mean, at the end of the day, if I'm the only one, if I'm that lone wolf, if I'm the black sheep, then I'll be the black sheep, because it's what I believe in, it's what I stand for, and it's constitutional. Give me my choice.
Yeah.
Give me my choice, and if everybody else comes along, then come on with me. Let's do it.
Yeah. Legendary is one of the comments. Well, that is because I think, and so you made a decision. You're put on administrative leave right now. When did that begin?
October 1st.
October 1st.
October 1st was administrative leave. Show up vaccinated or go home.
And you went home.
And I went home.
And so from then I would imagine a journey's begun for you, where like all of a sudden you're at home.
Yeah.
You were this lone wolf.
Yeah.
You plug in and you find out what after that.
There's more people who support me. I mean, I've had an overwhelming amount of support from parents and other staff members, even those that are vaccinated. Hey man, I respect your decision. I respect what you're doing. You know, how can I help? How can I help? And I'm like, hey, write some letters. You know, let's get up to those people up there and let's sit in those big seats and make our voices come together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you did so there was a moment, right, where you've made your decision. They send you home.
Yeah.
You're sitting there. You're like a dad. Your children. How many children you got?
Two. 8-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son.
Oh wow, you have a freshie right there. So that's a lot of pressure, and you got a loving wife at home, and
absolutely
supporting this decision.
Yeah.
How was that? Because you knew it was coming. At a certain point, there was like an early warning, and then October 1st is coming. So you're at home talking with your wife, no doubt about it. And what was her take about this?
She's supportive of me. You know what I mean? She's saying, hey, you know, I'll ride with you. You know, like a wife should, and I surely appreciate it. And we're just taking it step by step, and hopefully something turns within the near future here. And in the meantime, we just gotta stand up for what you believe and trust that things are gonna go your way.
Yeah. It's a lot of having faith right now in the bigger picture, right?
Man.
And so when we'll get to the questions a little bit. So it's hard. I forgot my glasses, but so you make this decision, and then the die is cast, so to speak, and the line has been drawn. This is where I stop, and I stand up for myself, my family, and then all of a sudden you find there's a community of people that support you, love you, and care for your right to make this decision.
Yeah.
And how did that feel when you realized you weren't a lone wolf?
It was almost like a breath of fresh air. You know, it takes the pressure off of you, and you can talk to people such as yourself to kind of say, hey man, what do you think about this? You know, where are we going from here? And try to take those steps to rectify this nationwide problem. You know what I mean? So it feels good, man. It feels good to say, hey, I'm not the only one. I got people out here that's going to support me, and it's power in numbers, man. And the voice of other people speaking the same language is beautiful.
So that's what I've noticed, which was very interesting. This mandate thing has sort of brought finally a sort of cohesiveness to this oppositional reality we've all been experiencing a lot of. Oh, you're over there and we're over here, and you do this and you're going that way and this way. And so and what I thought was interesting was people that have taken the sauce. They're against. I don't think people quite understand. There's a huge number of people that have taken the sauce, that are pro sauce, that are anti-mandate.
Right.
And this isn't a political issue.
Right.
This has nothing to do with politics anymore. This is a human rights issue.
Sure, no doubt.
And so what was that like to get support from? Because from me, who's standing up for myself too, it's an easy bridge to cross and be okay. Yeah, we're on that. But what was it like to get support from people who are pro sauce but anti-mandate? I mean, that's almost a unique demographic.
It is, and even within the district at my school, I mean, there's people who are like, hey, coach, I'm vaccinated, but I stand for what you believe in. This is your choice. This is what you should do, and stick with it. If you need me to do anything, again, it's just that reassurance, like, okay, I'm not making a wrong decision. You know, I'm making a decision for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, give me that choice. Give me the respect as a human to say, okay, I can do this or I can't. But then having those people around you to say, hey, look, I support you with what you're doing. And that's a great feeling.
Yeah. Oh no. We're okay. We're so when we get to these points in life, is what is your, because I think there's a lot of people that haven't come to the moment they have to make the decision. So your post decision, what is your things that you're doing on your daily process to keep yourself balanced out of fear, out of because I'm sure these things come up and you're thinking like, what am I going to do and how am I going to do this, and what are you doing for yourself?
I mean, and one of the things that I'm doing, I mean, I enjoy exercise and working out, so I had the opportunity to walk around this beautiful park here this morning and just really just gather my thoughts. I mean, with this, I'm so scattered at sometimes, you know what I mean? So just to really sit down and focus and say, hey, look, what's the next step for me? You know what I mean? If this doesn't go the way I planned it, and so you go and look and say, hey, look, maybe I need to tighten up my resume right now. You know what I mean? Maybe I need to go maybe into the private sector who some schools are accept your religious belief and really value your personal opinion. So I've been doing that, reaching out to some of these private schools to where I can still do what I love, still work with the kids and enjoy myself, and then go from there. So it's really just a personal thing to sit down and look and say, even if I got to write it down and say, hey, look, this is the first step. Let's do my resume. Let's tighten that up. Okay, now let's write a list of local private schools, and then let's send emails to the private schools and go from there. So that's helping me personally to say, hey, look, I'm putting my feet on the ground and I'm working towards moving on.
Beautiful, brother.
Yeah,
beautiful. Man. Let me dig in on this a little bit. As a black man, you came out of the South, right?
Yeah.
And went to university, a football player, and here we are in so supposedly sunny Southern California with all this progressiveness and whatnot.
Sure.
What is the experience of a black man being coerced with this sort of government intimidation tactic? What's that like?
I mean, it's always been happening. I mean, if you look at the history of blacks and all these diseases coming in and not getting the proper medical care, and I mean it's just crazy, man, that it's come to this. You know what I mean? To where you have to think like, dang, being black is going to mess me up. You know what I mean? Like, I can't change the color of my skin. I can't change where I came from. But at the same time, I'm still a human, man. I still want to get along with everybody. You know, and it's just hard to think about something like that.
Yeah, it's very bizarre that we've gotten to this state where my mom. You know, they've sauced up and they're pretty cool, but she went to school in the South, right? And she was there for all of in the 60s and stuff. And I said this thing the other day that kind of broke through a thing. I go, like, Los Angeles is like the new Jim Crow, but it's separate but unequal now.
Yeah.
We don't even have the separate accommodation anymore.
Right.
Like, so it is historically speaking, like, how radical like, how old are you?
39.
In your lifetime, you've experienced we've gone backwards
Sure.
in our lives.
Sure.
But now it's not even a color thing. It's just a health issue.
Right. I mean, you go down the line and look at all this with the police brutality, and you know, all these different races are getting discriminated against. And I mean, we feel discriminated against if you're not sauced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, why isn't my health records, why isn't that disclosed? I mean, I got to tell you that I'm vaccinated now?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? You know, and it's devastating.
It's devastating. And I think that was why I thought that you know, because I've been waiting to interview some of the firemen, because one of the LA County fire guys is a viewer of this channel, and they're pushing back with the union and whatnot, but they're not to where you are in the thing, and so and here we are is this is way bigger than people understand of what's going on. I mean, they're like codifying literal medical segregation at this point if you're in LA County.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't drink, so it's no big deal for me on the bars and the clubs and the whole thing, the slippery slope, right?
Yeah, sure.
Is it intimidating? How does that feel as a human being with the historical narrative attached to your reality of this sort of coercion by the state, to be living in a time where there is this coercion by the state again?
Yeah, it's very intimidating. I mean, who do you go to? You know what I mean? These people are way up here making these decisions, and everybody's like getting on board, and I'm like, hey, well, what happened to how I feel? What happened to the rights that I want to make? You know what I mean? And I keep kind of going back to the same thing, but it's the ultimate truth. You know what I mean? Like, where do I go? Who do I talk to about this? You know what I mean? So that's why I think people like yourself and all these different groups are amazing, man, to say, hey, look, I'm not the only one. You know what I mean? I don't have to be intimidated by this. I can write a letter. I can voice my opinion. I can stand up for what I believe, and I got a backing.
Yeah, yeah, and that's it's because it's funny when you look at like the demographic makeup of who isn't taking the sauce, so to speak, is I find to be very fascinating, and then there's this interesting thing which I don't think a lot of people are in touch to, and I heard it the other day, is like the Tuskegee experiments ended and Dukes of Hazzard was still on television. So in our lifetime, I'm 52, you're 39, that ended while you were alive.
Yeah.
Like, so it's not some distant thing from the 1800s.
Yeah, not that
this
far
was
along, man.
recently, and within your lifetime, this was going on.
Sure.
So how is that resonating in the Black community? It seems like there's a certain level of pushback, or is it I don't care, or we're not a part of the system anyhow? How is...
No, it's definitely some pushback, and I think that's the thing. We got to really get our voices out there, because there's other people who are being silent that feel the same way we do. You know, it's just a matter of them saying, hey, look, come on, man, stand up for what you believe in. You got another backing. Here's my support, and let's really push and believe for what we're doing. So it's all over the Black community, you know, to where we feel like, you know, we can't get pushed around anymore. This is it. This is the the straw that broke the camel's back, and so we got to stand up.
Yeah, because we're bumping into this thing, and I think in New York they're starting to see it. Is within the inner city Black community of Los Angeles. You got the food desert issue, right? Where the nutritional desert they call it, where it's getting processed food delivered in, and they've got to shop. There's not big supermarkets. Yeah. So you start clamping down on these things, is like you're depriving people of their lower nutritional food, but food is that's. It's really kind of alarming that people aren't seeing it for what it is when you get into this show your papers for basic services,
right?
And using our children as hostages.
Oh man, that's even worse. These babies, man, and they're not. The parents and the babies and these kids, let them be kids. Mm-hmm. Let them be kids. Like, why do I have to walk around with a mask on and I'm outside? I'm in the classroom. The kids are having a hard time breathing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, that's where not to even get like, because we can touch back, and culturally speaking, you can touch back the Tuskegee experiments, which were relatively recently. And people want to make this about science and trust and this and that. And everything I see says the exact opposite, especially when I look at the lens. I'm an adult, right? I can make my decision. I can take a billy club to the head. I can be arrested. I can stand up for myself. I have a 6-year-old boy you met yesterday. He is statistically and scientifically like not part of this discussion almost, as all these children are. And so to put this on these people, I think it's pretty easy for like people with means to say what they want. But you're talking about people that don't have means, that are dependent upon public school system to enable them to go to work, going, hey, if you don't stick needles in your children's arms, your kid can't go to school.
Right.
And now it seems to be way more malevolent than I understand, because I have a little bit of leverage in my life doing this and whatnot to make different decisions than your average person. So how is that are there scared, terrified parents within the Black community right now that are like, I don't know what to do?
Yeah. So I mean, you want the quality of education that America provides, right? You want your kids to go to school. You want them to be safe, and you want them to be able to learn those general education skills to go on in life, right? But now, all of a sudden, I gotta vaccinate my kids in order for them to get that. Like, it's wrong, man. It is wrong to so many levels, and within my community, where do we go? What school can we put them to? Do we start to build our own schools? You know what I mean? That should be up for grabs. You know what I mean? To start putting together these these small little cohorts to where we can get a good quality education without abiding to these mandates and what America is telling us to do.
Well, that's what's interesting is you have the big war in California against charter schools and educational choices, which is very interesting. Because let me ask you this: are you in the teachers union?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're in a different school. I don't even need to blow that up, but I was reading all the stuff back when the last fall with the LA County Teachers Union about why they weren't going to let the kids go back to school. And it seemed very abusive towards the education of these children that they say are in need.
Yeah.
Especially when you get into IEP and all this special needs stuff, and that most of these children don't have access to Wi-Fi and Zoom and all of this stuff, is they were hurt the most, I would imagine.
Sure. I mean, there's already a lack in the inner city. There's already a lack of resources as far as books and teachers. I mean, LA Unified, got, there are thousands of teachers who are not there. And now I have this 50 student class, and we don't have enough resources to accommodate these kids. And let alone they now when they go home, they're on the streets. They're not doing what they need to be doing, and now they're leading to something else. You know what I mean? So all this stuff can ultimately lead to them being incarcerated, them being in gangs, them being malnutrition and all this other stuff to where they're eating hot Cheetos and Mountain Dew all day. You know what I mean? So get these kids in school, man. Get them to where they have some type of resources and something to go to versus the streets, versus in the gangs and all this other stuff, man. That's another show, ain't it?
That's all. No. I think this is a lot of like what been trying to do for a long time is bridge the gap.
Yeah, sure.
And it's unique that this moment of this mandate might actually be the thing that bridges the gap, because we all of us have to figure. We're going to go to a hard thing to enter it, and I'll post it up on the second, just so you know. If it just cuts out, I will be uploading whatever's left after the fact for a part 2, just so you know, viewers. So this is the thing that's bringing us together, because I've been trying to figure out for a while now, so the whole last year I'm homeschooling my son, right, is how do we get these parents that need to be able to go to work, that don't want to be part of this education system, and join. It's a whole nother conversation.
Man, that's $1 million question, man.
But I think there's a willingness now that this mandate thing sort of brought us together, because now you're starting to see that the people that truly believe in liberty, the Constitution, love, grace, dignity, because this is a dignity question too, right? You're having you're having your dignity taken away as a teacher, a person who's put yourself through college, who's here as part of the education system, a father, a husband, and they're taking your means away from you.
Sure.
And here we are, right? Two men, sitting on a bench.
Yeah.
Like it starts with us.
The people hear us.
Yeah. We have a very beautiful audience out there that gets it, and when I sit here, let me go in a little bit of a different direction as a man with a wife and a husband. Like how on my channel I've been talking a long time is the revolution begins at the dinner table. Mm-hmm. How can we take on the system if we let our own internal family collapse, right? And so how it's so weird. I don't know how to quite put it as a husband, how much effort and co-parenting and co-loving do you and your wife, how important, like it's statistically way more important. It's for everybody, but I mean, you know what I mean? It's like you're almost a pillar of your community, breaking the demographic stranglehold on these children that are being raised, right?
Yeah. My wife and I, we say, hey, we're tag team. We're always high-fiving. Hey, tag team. And I think that's what's important, to be able to, if I need to say, hey, babe, I need a break, you know what I mean? And she tags me, I got you, go ahead. You know what I mean? That support is no different than the support me and you, we need together, and as a community to say, hey, look, it's okay to be tired. You know what I mean? It's okay to have a break, to take a break. But then once you get your break, get back on your feet and let's go. You know what I mean? So it's that push and pull, that give and take type of deal that us as a family have, and I think it's very important to survive in a world like this, to where you may say, I need somebody to talk to, and let's sit down and figure this out. What we need to do. Similar to the situation I'm in now. What's the next move?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What do we do next, babe? Or hey, where our kids gonna go to school? You know what I mean? And it's just to really sit down and focus on what we need to do and how we need to do it, and put together a game plan. As a coach, you strategically put together this game plan, and that's what we need to do as a family and as a community and as a people.
Yeah. No, as a coach, you get a game plan. No, that's beautiful, because I think that this is a time where we've really, like, me and my wife went through it all with the fires. Our house burned down in the big fires, and like it's everything that was strained in there was revealed, right? And so we did the work, and with children and the whole thing, and here we are in the middle of this chaos, and it's like our family's all we got.
That's it.
On that level, and that we can't quit on each other now.
No, especially not now.
But you got to put in the good work early, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm sure it's not easy.
No.
And I think that there's too many people that quit on each other.
Yeah.
Especially once you have children, right? It's
a done deal.
It's not about you.
Yeah, done deal. Your life is over.
Life is over. In the best way possible.
Yeah.
And so so your children, your 8-year-old obviously knows what's going on.
She knows what's going on. But I want her to be a kid.
Yeah.
Like that. Let's not. I don't want you to worry about that.
Sure.
You go and continue to do what you're doing. Continue to, but don't let daddy and mommy handle that stuff. Let us do the adult stuff. As far as the right thing for the family. You go out and be a kid and go play and go dance and play your soccer games and do all that other stuff, and we'll handle it.
Yeah, no. Let me ask you this: is
do our best to handle it.
I know, God, it's so gnarly right now. Me and my wife, are you staying in California? Are you open to, like, you know what I mean? It's like these questions are real nowadays. Like,
no doubt.
Like
no
the
doubt.
city's like crazy
No
town,
doubt.
dude. I mean, now you saw it when this thing began, right?
Yeah.
Like they will go crazy.
I love California, man. I mean, we're in October and we got short sleeves on and it's blue skies and this is amazing. But I don't think I haven't got to that point yet to where I'm thinking about moving. Does it cross my mind? Absolutely, But right now, I'm gonna stick it out and see what happens.
Well, we gotta dig in. I was, because there's a certain part of me that, like, we're doing it. I kind of live off the grid mentally and spiritually within the grid and doing my own thing. And what gets me to show up to all these things like yesterday, and I go to all these rallies and stuff, is it's not even for me. It really is for all these parents that don't have the ability to stand up for themselves because they're busy going to work, putting food on the table, fearing their own things. So it's like if we crumble, they crumble.
Kudos to you, man.
It's gnarly, man.
That's
like,
awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
It's an intense thing to know that it's not just us.
No.
And I think everyone's lost track of that. Like,
sure. And I think that's why I did what I did. You know what I mean? And like I say, I thought I was the only one, and then all of a sudden, here comes this big group, and I'm like, hey, it's more of us. So now it's go put these flyers on the cars, go talk to people, go to the rallies, and see who else. Let's bring everybody together. The more people, the merrier. You know what I mean? And try to get some of this stuff overturned.
Yeah, it's so as one of my big things is, so here we are, right? And it's funny, we were at that thing yesterday. I was pretty inspiring, a lot of people there, right?
Oh, definitely.
But as a person who's pretty vocal and has been involved with city politics and stuff, I kind of left and I was sort of sitting there and I was like, because I really wanted to keep it empowering and positive, but I sort of sat back and go, gosh, man, like the only real way to change is we got to get in these positions of leadership on the local level. But we're like, it's a cycle thing. Like we're out of the cycle. And so as a person who's experiencing the abuse of the government, so to speak. Do you think about maybe getting involved on like the local political level of being like, because you're a voice now, as someone who stood up as like running for city council or school board or anything, because if we don't get in these positions, like we really can't turn the craft around.
I mean, yesterday you spoke on it, and it's eye-opening, man, because I really wasn't a vocal guy, you know what I mean? But I knew what I stood for, and I stood up for that. And now that, you know, like you say, you go home and you driving home, you kind of replay the day and see what can you pull from the day. And I think that's just it. Like, we got to show up to these local things and make our voices heard, because you're allotted a certain amount of time to speak. And why not? If you feel a certain way, why not say it?
Yeah.
Why not say it? So I do think I would be a little more vocal, because now it's personal. You know, it's affecting me and my family, but then I know there's a lot of people that's not standing up. So I want to help be that voice to where I can stand up for myself and other people around me.
It's an interesting thing on that level. It's, you know, I'm a kind of a lone wolf in that, because I you know, I do show up for myself, because it isn't about confrontation. It's about asserting my sovereignty as I'm not a renter on this planet.
Yeah.
Like I'm divinity. I was created in God's image to be here, right? And so I was thinking about yesterday with all those moms and parents up there. Was about 70 of them. A lot of them, right?
Yeah.
And I was wondering, as like, how many of them are really sitting there going, I really should have paid attention to who these people were on these school board votes during these. I didn't show up for those elections 2 years ago, and they voted on who was going to be on the school board, and I don't even know who their names are. And that's like where I've been trying to go, is like, no, it's all local. Like most people don't know who these people are that are taking our rights away, especially in the education system. Is like, when you really look at some of these people, they're alarming, and they don't have any qualification to be there, especially like, so we're in Santa Monica, like the Santa Monica Unified School District isn't that position, and the school board is not educational. It is literally a political thing to get to the next level. So a lot of those people on Santa Monica School Board aren't there to better your reality as a teacher or the children's realities. It's a huge, that's why they're battling on the school separation. So much money. And what people don't get is that the school board's deciding huge contracts, like rebuilding Malibu High, right? Like, that's decided on the school board level. The people that are talking to them behind the scenes are the contractors and these big architect firms and all these people that want this project. So we think they're there about education, but they're really about moving huge money around. And that huge money leads them to be like, all right, we're going to put you in school board here in Santa Monica, a hugely powerful school district. Well, we'll help you become like the state rep and then climb the ladder out of this thing. And I think that we've missed how powerful the school boards is till this last year. And I think people are really waking up to like.
Great point. I mean, I think we'll see what happens next year as far as getting these people who we really want. I think it's important to really sit down and make it a point to study some of these dudes. Who is this guy? You know, let's look him up. Let's fact check this dude and see if this is what I believe in. If not, we vote him out, or vote this person in. You know, to really follow who's running.
Well, sure. So like this is what's interesting, right? I did the last election. I got the voter pamphlet. We did it live and researched them and found out who all these people were, right? But what's interesting, so let's say you move your thing on and it comes into like the courts, the local courts here about like your whatever's going on with you in the school, right? That's why I don't even touch it, because like, you know what I mean? I don't know what you're up to. But let's say you move into the court, like that judge, like he was in an election, and most people don't bother to find out who any of these people are that make these decisions, like district attorneys and all this stuff is hugely empowering if we as a community, because then nobody shows up for these votes.
And now we're being affected by it. You know, now you're not happy with the decisions that's being made because you weren't there, you weren't fact checking these dudes, you weren't looking at the qualifications that they had, and now the decision is made.
Well, and I think that's sort of where we can do go backwards, forwards almost, is like, okay, like we're right at I think a turning point for it all. Like we either believe in this thing that we all share together, or we don't. Right? Like, and I believe, like, as much as overwhelming odds are against us, and I could literally, like, just go drive, we could just move to Idaho and, like, call it good and raise corn, you know, or whatever. I don't
potatoes.
Potatoes. You don't raise corn in Idaho. But you get what I'm saying? And so you get to this thing where, like, all I really ever wanted was to get people to see how much power they have as people. Not one of my catchphrases is kind of, you're the president. Everyone's going, that dude's my leader. No, you're the leader of your own reality, right? In your home, dude. Like you're the president of your home. Like you're the leader of your home. And I think on a certain level, a lot of people walk out of their house and just disempower themselves. And just be like, oh, someone else is running this whole show. No.
You are.
You are.
Yeah, your voice, your vote.
Yeah, all of your actions all day long, right?
How about that?
Yeah.
Eye-opening, man.
Yeah, it's
eye-opening.
It's radical. So I know we're gonna run out of juice here in a minute. Is Daryl is the one thing that I do know about whatever this thing is that I do here is it brings me together with people for bigger reasons.
Sure.
And I just knew when my wife's like, oh, Coach Daryl, and because the world's a lot smaller than we think. And I think we have a lot more in common and people are trying to divide us constantly. And it's alarming.
It is.
It's horrifying.
It is, man. And I think people are beautiful, man. You can find some relationship, no matter who it is. Just have a conversation. I can guarantee you connect somehow. Doesn't matter who he is or who she is or what they look like. You know, I think there's some connection between somebody at some point in your life, and you just got to find it. Don't be afraid to say, hey, how you doing? How's your day? Even if you don't know them. You know what I mean? And I think that communication and that awareness of each other and being able to go and say, hey, look, let me find out what you're about. Let me find out what you're about, and then make decisions accordingly. I think that's very important.
Yeah, we're big about the name tags here. Everyone's like, people that work have name tags, like and that you can stop with them for a second and just acknowledge them as human beings and be like, hey, what's up, Jim or Tammy or whatever it is, and give like, I think people are just over, and I think that's where this lower level frustration of complying to this beast is like, no one cares about me anyhow. I got a name tag, they don't even use it. You know what I mean? It's very interesting. And on the final note, just how weird is it? So last summer, you had a bunch of people that claimed they were all about this civil rights issue with police brutality and all this stuff. And now here we are a year later, those same people are like literally trying to coerce you to take the sauce of the same system they were fighting last year, right? Like big pharma, big police state, big government. So that's where like I get really tripped out about the whole thing. It's like, it's so Jekyll and Hyde right now.
What do you mean? You know what I mean? Like it's almost like you're choosing to do one thing, but then you're flipping around and choosing to do another thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on.
Well, I was at Fairfax, right? I was live streaming from the thing at Fairfax last year, and I was in the most powerful woman was standing up against the cops and the whole thing. And we were like, it was, I was just filming. And I remember being like, this is like, there's a legitimate civil rights thing going on right now. Then I watched the side of the Antifa building smashers and graffitiers, and then followed by the looters. And I was like, this is like, talk about having a moment of everyone standing up against, which is the police state being just hijacked by chaos and questionable agendas and here we are again, right? And I see the beauty of what the silver lining is, what this mandate has done is it's brought us back around to what this is a civil rights issue. This is your civil rights, my civil rights, to educate our children, to live free, bodily autonomy, and
absolutely.
How do we raise a family?
It's $1 million question, man.
Well,
what do we have to do? What's the ticket? What can get us out of this?
Well, we're doing it, I think.
Yeah.
You know, we're showing up, right? Like, we're showing up for each other. And I don't know what that means.